Hey!
Hello.
Welcome back to
The Drunken Library.
And today we have our April wrap-up video for you guys because we were yelled at last time that we shouldn't wait 3 months to do the next one.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah, thanks, Stephanie. Whatever. It's fine.
Fine.
So we've got some motherfucking books we read in April for you guys.
We do. They
All
were
right.
fucking the books.
I mean, were they?
Somebody may
I don't
have.
think any... Well, one of the books I had fucking in it, but, like, not many.
Two of the ones that I... Three? A
Who
couple
knows?
of mine.
It's fine. Anyway, so we're gonna get this motherfucking party started.
Yes, we are.
All right. So for me, this was a relatively YA heavy month because I don't usually read that much YA, and I'm rereading a couple series, and also I was just like in a mood. So first, I reread for me. It's called So Lyrical by Trish Cook. It's a book about this girl whose mom was a groupie for all these bands in the 80s, and she doesn't know who her dad is, and she's trying to, like, figure it out. And then it's pretty ridiculous. It's, like, it's not good, but, like, high school me was really into it, and also I'm really into, like, 80s pop music, so I was all
What?
about it. Whatever, Amber. So yeah, I'm into it, but, like, it's not good. Next one I read was 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher, because the series came out on Netflix and I wanted to watch it, and I've had the book for like a weirdly long time and never gotten around to reading it.
You have a physical copy?
Yes, I do. So
I'm
if you want
gonna
to
read it,
borrow it,
yeah.
go nuts. So I read it because I was just like, oh, I want to like read it and then watch the show and kind of like see what all the buzz is about and form my own opinion on it because I've heard a couple of conflicting things.
I'm going to do that as well. I have very
yeah.
strong opinions on the subject.
You do.
So
I have strong opinions from a different perspective, but like it's a whole other thing. But I don't know. I appreciated it. I think that if you approach it in the right mindset, it's probably a good thing. But we'll have to have a talk about it after Amber reads it. I think we'll do a video. Maybe.
We'll do a video.
So yeah, you.
Oh, okay. So the first book I finished in April is American Gods. Finally.
It's only been a year, Amber.
Such a good book.
It's a good book. I love Neil Gaiman.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I didn't love it though. I gave it 3 stars. I enjoyed reading it. I don't know. I think it was the ending for me. It didn't really. It let me down.
Like I said, I feel bad that that's what I started you with.
Yeah. But the thing is like, I've read some other stuff of his. Like, I've experienced him in other ways. Because, like, he wrote, like, obviously, I really love Doctor Who. He wrote a couple episodes of Doctor Who that I've seen, and they're really good episodes. And then he wrote a Doctor Who short story that was really good, and I enjoyed that. I feel like there's something else of his I experienced, but I can't think of what it was. But yeah, but it was just this one, and and Norse mythology too. But yeah, no, I like a lot of what his style. I just didn't feel like I don't feel like it came together the way that
I'm going to stress
hoped
again,
it
because
would.
I think I've mentioned this when we've talked about it a couple of times. This was his first novel.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he'd written other things, but he'd never written a novel before, and he literally has said he had no idea what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like, it's weird. It's, like, weirdly one of the more accessible things he's written as
Okay.
far as, like, grabbing your initial interest.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not necessarily the best thing of his to read first. And I don't really know what would be. Maybe Stardust? I don't know.
I heard Sandman, the Sandman comics. are
Sandman
really good.
comics,
Glorious.
probably. I haven't actually read the Sandman comics, but I've heard good things.
I have a few. I'll let you borrow them.
I will take you up on that. Our friend is here with us.
I think Adam got them for me.
Hi.
He, like, downloaded them for me.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's like, yeah, American Gods is like not necessarily the best place to start, but at least you can understand, because you've had his style in other places, that like, it's not Neil Gaiman necessarily, it was just the execution.
And the weird thing is that I was enjoying the book as I was reading it. I really, really was. I liked the way he was telling the story. It was just the ending, I felt like it just didn't come
It got
together.
it got a little weird at the
Yeah,
end.
it got kind of convoluted. I feel like there was a lot of pieces that never got tied up, and I didn't understand why some of the stuff was there. I think that the book would have been a lot better if it would maybe be like 200 pages shorter.
It's one of those for sure.
Yeah. So,
All right. So next one for me, the next two I have actually go together, which is kind of convenient. I reread Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix and Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. I've been rereading those for the last couple months. I still love them. There's not that much to say.
I haven't read the Harry Potter book since I was 18.
I think the last time I read the most recent one I was like 19.
So about roughly the same amount of time then.
Well,
I mean, off by a year.
off by a year, yeah. So it's been almost 10 years since I've read them. So I decided recently to reread them, and I still love them. They hold up. I'm not even gonna pretend they don't.
Bitchin'.
Like, if you think they don't, you're gross and I hate you.
The next book that I finished in April was also by Neil Gaiman, and it was Norse Mythology, which is his most recently released book, actually.
I have the audiobook. I haven't started it yet.
Well, and all the books, I should say, all the books I read in April were audiobooks. So, I've been reading other stuff, I just haven't finished anything else. So, I finished Norse Mythology, and Neil Gaiman narrated it himself, and his voice is
It's so
fantastic.
good. It's so good.
Oh.
Oh my god, you guys. Look him up on YouTube. He reads the Jabberwocky poem to children, and it is beautiful.
His voice is so great. But yeah, the Norse mythology was pretty good. It was cool. He just wrote them all in a way that they kind of flowed in one cohesive story-ish. And it was a fun time.
Yeah, into it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one I finished was The Carnivorous Carnival, which is book 9 in a series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. I've been working my way back through those lately, you guys know. That one, not my favorite in the series. It's just not, but it is important to, like, the plot. But, like, it's just...
There.
It's kind of there, yeah.
Bummer.
And then the next one I got through was a poetry collection by Rupi Kaur, which is called Milk and Honey. This has been relatively popular in the last couple of years. It's like a contemporary woman writing poetry. It's about, like, romance and body image and, like, family relations. It's pretty good. It's like the poetry itself, like the word choices and the actual, like, structure isn't necessarily great, but you can feel what she was feeling when she wrote it, and so I can appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that was adorable.
Yeah. The next book that I finished, an audiobook, is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. This was recommended to me by Kyle, who, if you're not sure who that is, you can check our 100 subscriber video.
Or our Lorax video. But he was asleep in that one.
He was asleep on Sam's lap in that video. But anyway, he recommended that book to me, and specifically recommended the audiobook because it's told from two different perspectives, and they have the two different narrators. So, I listened to it. That book is amazing. I really, really enjoyed it. And the whole time I was texting him like, oh, is this what's going to happen? Oh, I don't like this character. Oh, this person's a douche. Oh, this person is blah, 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 blah.
It's kind of what I was doing to you when I read Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
I was like, this motherfucker.
Royalty's such a dick.
They were a dick, but then they weren't even real. Whatever. Watch that video. It's funny.
It's like, oh. Yep. So, yeah, Gone Girl is fantastic. It's 5 stars all the way. It's awesome. I highly recommend it. Read it. Do it. Now. Go.
All right. The next one I have was an audiobook I listened to. It was the Victory Odes by Pindar. He's a ancient Greek poet who wrote... He was basically a poet for hire for people who won at, like, sporting events. So people would hire him and be like, write about how fucking great I am. As a result of that
being... one of those guys.
Yeah, as a result of that being what it was, like, they're kind of fucking not great.
Oh.
But I appreciate that I listen to them for the historical aspect of it, because you learn a lot about like the Olympic Games and a couple of other tournaments from that time period. And also just like that's kind of how society worked in ancient Greece and ancient Rome. It's like I can hire this person, and because I can afford it, everyone will think I'm amazing, even if I'm a dick.
Now we just make YouTube
and because
videos.
I'm like, it's true, but and also because I'm like a geek for like the classics, like ancient Roman and Greek culture, it was like a thing for me. I read it as part of my Book Riot Read Harder challenge this year. I used it for 2 different ones. One for read a book about sports, because it's about like the ancient Olympic Games, and I also used it for read a collection of poetry in translation on a theme other than love.
Bitchin'.
Yeah, so knocking those out.
Hey.
Sometimes 2 at a time. And then the next one that I read was a very, very weird collection of like prose and poetry by Bob Dylan called Tarantula.
I don't like that title.
I know you don't. It's very strange. It's super stream of consciousness. It makes no fucking sense. If you're trying to get something deep and profound out of it, you're not going to. Like, you can, but you kind of just have to read it and, like, let it happen and get what you will out of it. Like, it's really weird. And if you try to read it in, like, a cohesive, linear way, it's not going to make any sense. There's just, like, random scattered lines that are either deep and profound or that are just really funny.
All right.
I would say something really quickly. I had a lit professor that talked about that book, and he said, I would never tell you guys to do drugs. But it was the 70s.
Oh, no, honestly, if you want that book to mean something, you probably need to be on some
He was
drugs.
like, psychedelics do wonders for some books. So that's a...
One of the reviews I saw was just like, publisher to Bob Dylan, want to write a book? Bob Dylan to publisher. I'd love to do some blow. Like, it's drug-fueled as shit. It makes no fucking sense if you're sober, but parts of it were really entertaining, and parts of it, like, you could interpret to be, but, like, if you're just reading it, you're like, the fuck is this? But I appreciated it. It was a good time. Anyway, carry on.
Sorry for that.
No, I'm glad you interjected with that.
So my next book was the first book in the series of Unfortunate Events for children and adults alike, honestly. But
I don't have a series of unfortunate events tattoo.
I picked it because I was driving to Madison to hang out with my friend, and I was like, I could listen to this on the way there and back, and I'll finish it. And then I felt like listening to music on my way back, so it was kind of not. I didn't.
The
use
audio
it for
book
that
for
point,
that
but-
one, I listened to that actually when I drove back from Winona last year, not this past year, but the year before. It's good for like a drive.
Well, that's kind of what I remembered, because I was like, I kind of don't want to listen to music, or I want to listen to blah blah blah. But also, as I was listening to it, because I watched the show they have on Netflix now for it, and I feel like they might have gotten, like, I think Neil Patrick Harris might have narrated Count Olaf in the book, but it doesn't say who.
I don't know, yeah, because
but it sounds like him.
the Bad Beginning audiobook is a full cast. The rest of them aren't.
Okay.
The rest are either just Tim Curry or just Daniel Handler, whose pen name is Lemony Snicket.
Okay.
He only narrates like 3 of them. The rest are Tim Curry. But like, yeah, that one's full cast, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, and I feel like Count Olaf was voiced by Neil Patrick Harris, like he's done
Guys,
in the show.
I haven't watched the Netflix show yet, but I'm so excited because I love the series of Unfortunate Events, and I love Neil Patrick Harris.
She really does.
I really do.
So so that's the next one.
Gonna
that I
happen
finished.
soon because I only have 4 books left in the series. So yes.
They only have episodes for the first 4.
I
books,
know, but I still want to finish before I start the series on Netflix.
That's fair. There's a lot of stuff they hint at in the show.
Also, I
It's not
messpoke
in the first
earlier.
couple
Carnivorous
books.
Carnival is book 9, not book 10.
I thought you said it was book 9.
I might have. I don't know. Either way, it's book 9.
It's book 9. In case you were wondering.
I have 10, 11, 12, and 13 left is the thing.
So it's definitely book 9.
Yeah. All right, so the next one I read was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Scamander, otherwise known as J.K. Rowling, writing as Newt Scamander. And it was the new edition. I listened to it on audiobook. They released a new audiobook narrated by Eddie Redmayne, who played Newt Scamander in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Nice.
And they also released a new Pottermore edition of the Kindle book with new beasts in it, with a bunch of North American ones, which is great.
Didn't you say there's one for Wisconsin?
Yes, there is. And it was so fucking adorable. It wasn't, you don't get anything major out of going through Fantastic Beasts. It doesn't really greatly contribute to the Harry Potter series experience at all.
It's just kind of fun.
It's just, a fun side thing that takes a couple hours to get through, and it was just, I loved it. It was a great time. Plus, Eddie Redmayne is wonderful.
Also has a great voice.
Yes. Also, he is attractive. I don't care what you say.
That voice, though.
That voice, that face, that body. What?
Right? Girl. And then the last one I got through this past month was a reread for me. And I reread because I haven't in a couple of years, and it's one of my favorites. The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I love it so much. I will always love it so much. And because I'm a little emo fuck and I've been listening to the Smiths a lot lately, it seemed appropriate. Because Charlie, every third page in that book references a Smiths song.
Yeah.
It's the same Smiths song, but it happens a lot. And a bunch of books that I really like, and I'm like, oh, I could have been this little fucker in high school. And I love it. It's always 5 stars. It's fine.
I enjoyed it that time that I read it, and then we did it for TDL.
We did.
That was
We did
good.
do that.
That was a good time.
We did dance party at the beginning of the video for that one.
Yeah!
That was way back when you were still in your old apartment.
Was that the one? No, the one I was drinking out of the vodka bottle was Nick and Nora.
That was Nick and Nora.
That was Nick and Nora.
It was around the same time period.
Right, that's why I got them confused in my brain. My brain is not in my cheek.
That
here. It
time
doesn't-
period of
it's,
TDL gets a
weird.
little fuzzy because you were moving and
Yeah.
a lot of shit was going on.
There was
but
some
It was a
shit.
good time. We
Yeah.
didn't post Perks of Being a Wallflower or Nick and Nora until way
Way
after
later.
we filmed them.
Yeah.
A year after we filmed
That
them.
was awesome.
Hi, Spencer.
Yeah. So then the last book that I read in April was a memoir by Anthony Rapp called Without You, a memoir on love, loss, and the musical Rent. I don't know if we've talked about it much on the channel, but we're both pretty big Rent heads, and yeah. So I listened to it, and it was narrated by Anthony Rapp also, and it was great. It was just so fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. It was everything that I wanted it to be and more, and it was amazing. And yep.
So that is our wrap up for the month of April.
Yes, it is.
It was a good time for the whole family, really. Unless you're talking about that Bob Dylan book, and then it's only fun if you're on drugs. Or if you're really tired, because it's a similar effect, honestly.
I just like to say I drank my drink really fast, so I'm sorry that I'm giggling through your
Oh,
entire
you're
video.
fine.
You're good. Giggling narration by Patricia.
Yeah, she's great, you guys. But yeah, so let us know if there's any of these books that we haven't already that you want to see us do a review on. Like I said, we're probably going to do one about 13 Reasons Why once Amber reads
once I read
because
it.
there's stuff to talk about with that one. And just any other video suggestions or commentary about how fucking hilarious we are.
Yeah.
All right, have a great day.
Bye.